statement which has been submitted to the Commission. Can you confirm that you did so and confirm the correctness of that statement?
Yes, I can confirm. I admitted the statement to you, yes.
Thank you. Do you have the statement in front of you?
Yes.
Good, good. Right, well, let's go straight into it. You say that between June 96 and June 99, you were seconded by the Swedish government as an investigator for the South African Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and throughout this tenure, you were based at the TRC's Johannesburg office. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Could you tell the Commission about your prior experience as a policeman?
At the time, yes. At the time I joined the Truth Commission, I had been serving for the Swedish police for 22 years, mainly working on as an investigator in various units within the Swedish police, mainly also, I would say, with serious crime investigations.
What was the main focus of your work in the Swedish Security Service?
Well, I worked for the Swedish Security Service for 10 years, and at the time, which was during the 80s, it was still the Cold War, so the main focus for the Swedish
nationalism that has co-opted so much of American even.
Say again, I couldn't hear.
I think it was a technical glitch, Mr. Shellback. We can ignore it. You may proceed with your evidence.
Right.
Okay.
So, and you say in your statement you were involved in investigating security and intelligence operations in Sweden and also studying the modus operandi of foreign country services. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Right. Now, before you arrived in Johannesburg, you had some involvement in investigating aspects of the activities of the South African security forces in Europe. Could you tell the Commission about that?
Before the TRC, did you ask me? Not really. I mean, that was very, very limited investigative done into the South African activities in Europe before I joined the Truth Commission.
Right. Okay. And then you joined the Commission from June 1996. And then in paragraph 5 of your statement, you're welcome to refer to your statement if you have it in front of you. You say
yes,
that you were approached in early November 1997. This is now at the time that you were working with the TRC. Could you tell the Commission about what the approach was, what you were asked to do?
Yeah, so I was approached by somebody at the time. Now I don't remember who exactly it was, but I was asked to travel to Paris and assist the South African ambassador to France, Madame Barbara Masekela, in a meeting with the Ministry of Justice in France, related to a question that had been raised by the ambassador about the murder of Dulce September and the report that had been published in France, alleging that there was a French involvement in the assassination of Dulce September.
Right. Could you tell the Commission who Dulce September was?
Yes, I knew that she was the ANC representative in France. She had been, when she was murdered in 1988, I knew that she had been there for a few years as a representative. I knew that she had a background in South Africa in anti-apartheid activities, and she had left South Africa and lived in exile in France. And I knew also that she had been looking into investigating how the sanctions, the weapon embargo had been followed in Europe, and especially in France. There were allegations that French weapon industry was involved in delivering weapons to South Africa, despite the weapon embargo.
Right, and so it was agreed that you would travel to Paris for this meeting with the French government, and you say that arrangements were also made for you to hold a series of meetings with other people who knew about Dulcie September's activities and the assassination and the investigation. So this was the purpose of the meeting, of your trip in the end, was not solely the meeting with the French government, it was to be used for other investigations in this matter.
That is correct. I was asked to participate in the meeting, but also to try to talk with people who had any sort of knowledge about Dulcie September's activities and her, the event that led to the assassination of her in Paris.
Right. Did you travel alone from South Africa to Paris?
Well, that was when I was asked to do this, I was told that I was going to travel alone. But just a few days before my departure from Johannesburg, I was told that I would be accompanied by another investigator from the Cape Town office of the TRC.
And who was that person?
That was Mr. Wilson Magadla.
Mr. Wilson Magadla, also known as Lawandle Magadla. At that time, did you know anything about his expertise or experience in the investigation of serious crime?
No, actually, I had never met him before. We traveled to Paris, so I didn't know very much about him. I assumed that he was coming with me with his expertise, and that he had experience from serious crime investigations.
Where did you meet him first?
I met him because he was traveling from Cape Town, and I traveled from Johannesburg, so I actually met him on the plane, en route to Paris. That was the first time I saw him.
And then, while you were when you met him on the plane, did you discuss the September matter with him?
Yes, we had a short discussion about the journey to Paris and the task ahead. But I understood immediately that he actually didn't know very much about what we were going to do, or about the matter of the murder case. It was, yeah.
Right. Once you were in Paris, you had a series of interviews. Did he attend those interviews?
Yes, he attended all of the interviews from beginning to start, yes.
Did he ask any questions during the interviews?
Not at all, and that surprised me, of course, because during the time and all the interviews, he actually never asked a single question to anybody. And there was not very much that he was interested in between the interviews, so there was not very much of discussions at all about the case.
Right. Then you refer in paragraph 12 of your statement to your last interview in Paris, which was held at the ambassador's residence on the 21st of November 1997. Could you tell the commission about that meeting?
Yeah, that was with Mr. Curiel. I hope my pronunciation is correct, but Jean-Bernard Curiel. He was a member of the Socialist Party, and he had connection with Dulce September, so apparently he knew her quite well. And there was a discussion about, her activities and so on. And of some reason, I don't know the reason for it, but I asked Mr. Curiel if he knew a man called Mr. Alain Gunon. And the reason why I'm asking her, because he had been mentioned, his name had come up in a number of reports and documents related to the Dulce September's murder. He was a French businessman. I knew that he was a French businessman, so and probably linked to French weapon companies. So according to the report from a Dutch organization called NISA, he had been decorated by President Mandela. And when I asked Mr. Curiel to confirm that, he got very, very upset. He stood up immediately and told us that if that was true, that he had been decorated, we should stop the investigation because that was of some reason. And that's where actually it stopped. And when this happened, Mr. Magadla stopped the interview. So that was what happened.
Right, so he stopped the interview. Was that the first time he intervened in any of the interviews you'd had at which he was present?
That was the first time, and I was, of course, very surprised because I hadn't seen any sort of reaction from him before, but now he stood up, and he stopped the interview, and he told me that he had to go make a phone call. So he left, actually, the meeting for 10, 15, 20 minutes. And I was very surprised and didn't understand the reason, because for me, it was a situation where we actually should continue the interview, of course.
And so when he returned, you say he ended the interview?
Yes, he came back.
His phone call. Sorry, when he returned from making his phone call, did he then end the interview with Mr. Curiel?
Yes, he did. He came back after, as I said, maybe 15, 20 minutes, and he told me that I had to stop the interview, and that we had to, leave the meeting room.
What was your feeling about what happened, about that event?
Again, I was very, very surprised because, as I said, this was the first time I saw any reaction, and for me, during this time in Paris, this was a time where we actually got some sort of very, interesting reaction from the people that we interviewed. So I thought we should, of course, continue the interview because this Mr. Curiel could possibly give us some more details why he was upset and why this was so upsetting for him. But there was no, it was clearly stopped and we couldn't continue the interview. So we left the meeting. And so that was happened.
And that was, am I right in understanding that was your last interview in Paris?
That was the last interview, and I think we left maybe possibly the day after, back to South Africa.
When you returned to South Africa, did you file a report or reports with the TRC head office?
Yes, I wrote reports from each and every interview that we conducted, and also summarize from our journey with all the details that we had obtained and reactions and so on, and I sent it to the investigative head office in Cape Town.
Did you receive any response to your report?
Nothing. I never received any questions, any comments, anything. I expected also to see a report from Mr. Magadla, which I never saw, and so this was actually went very silent after I had admitted the report and after I traveled.
Now, we know that Mr. Magadla, in fact, was the head of the Special Investigations Team at the TRC. Did you know, when did you discover that?
I think that was afterwards, because as I said, I never had met him before. He was working in Cape Town and I was in Johannesburg. I was only in Cape Town for a short period of time when I arrived to South Africa, but I can't remember I ever met him. But shortly, I think it was shortly after this that I understood that he had been appointed as the national head of the investigative unit. So from the special unit to the national unit of the investigative unit, replacing the former head, which was Mr. Advocate Glenn Goosen.
Right. So, right, now, in your statement from paragraph 17, you address the question of the French police file on the assassination of Miss September. Could you tell the Commission what happened in that regard?
Yes, that was, I would say, a main topic for our discussions with the Ministry of Justice, and a request from the ambassador and us to have a copy of the French police file, investigative file on the matter. And we were promised actually that a copy of that would be sent via the embassy in Paris to the TRC office in Cape Town. So I expected that it should come, and but then after coming back to South Africa, I never heard anything about the file, and I asked a couple of times, I think, if anybody had seen, if it had arrived, but I always got negative response on that question. But then at the end of the Human Rights Committee's work period, which I believe would have been in the fall of or late 1998, about a year later, I got a phone call from the Cape Town office asking me if I could assist to translate a document that had arrived, and it was written in Danish. Since I was the only remaining international investigator, and also with from a Scandinavian country, I was expected to be able to translate the Danish document. And I said, I'm not sure, but could you please send me a copy of the first page of the document, so at least I can see what the document is about, which I also received by fax shortly afterwards. And I immediately saw, of course, that this was not in Danish, it was in French. And it was actually the French investigative file of the murder case of Dulce September.
So what did you do about that?
Well, I informed the Cape Town office that I couldn't translate it. My French was not up to standard, and that was actually. But I was again quite surprised that it would have taken so long time for the file to arrive to Cape Town. But I don't know exactly when it arrived, but apparently there was no time now for translation. So my understanding is that it was just filed. It was, went to the archives, because there was no investigative capacity at the time to continue with that within the TRC. So I never heard that it was translated or even dealt with in any sort of way after this.
Are you aware of any interest the TRC showed in pursuing that French police file and having it interpreted or translated?
No, I never. I doubt it was because, as I said, this is when the Human Rights Committee was closing down, and it was focusing on amnesty applications after that, and I don't think there was any interest to translate or to follow up any sort of questions regarding the file.
Right. Then, in paragraphs 21 and 22, you refer to an approach to you by the Chief Executive Officer of the TRC, Dr. Minyuku. I'm not going to go through that now. I don't think it's directly material, but the commissioners will be able to see that if they wish to do, well, they will do so, I'm sure. Now, now it's 2026, it's some years since those events when the TRC was apparently investigating and the investigation was stopped. Have you had any contact this year from the South African authorities with regard to the September case?
Yes, I was approached either earlier this year or late last year, first time, with a representative of the investigative unit called the Hawks. I think it's under the National Director of Prosecution. An investigator, Colonel my pronunciation might be completely wrong, but Mashimane, Colonel Mashimane is investigator for the Hawks, and he contacted me, and actually twice, recently also. He was interested in asked questions about my involvement in the investigation in Paris and documentation and so on. So that was quite recently, the last time.
So he was looking for information which you'd been able to gather during the course of your investigations.
That's correct.
Right, okay. Mr. Schulberg, is there anything that you particularly want to draw to the attention of the Commission that I haven't raised with you in my questions?
Maybe, yes. You asked me about my involvement in operations in Europe and I think it's important to explain why I was asked to go to Paris to investigate this. It was because at the time I had been involved in investigation into the security forces operations in Europe. And that started when Eugene de Kock in court in September 96 alleged that there was a South African involvement in the murder of the Swedish Prime Minister in 1986. So that led me into actually follow up operations in Europe. So I had at the time when I was asked to travel to Paris, I had been investigating, working on activities in Europe by the South African security forces. And of course, during that time also the assassination of Dulce September came up, but also other operations like the blowing up of the ANC office in London, the network of spies that Craig Williams created in Europe, and what they actually reported back to South Africa about anti-apartheid activities in Europe.
Did you, a matter which may be of interest to the Commission, did you have discussion with Mr. de Kock about the Palmer matter?
Yes, I did. Actually, I went to and met him in prison a couple of times, and I also obtained a statement from him on that matter. So yes, I interviewed him in detail about his information related to Palmer.
And in essence, what was the essence of what he told you about that?
He told me that he had, this was from his side, it was second-hand information. He had been informed by a person called Philip Powell, who was at the time, he was a former security branch member, but he, at the time when de Kock met him, he was responsible for the training of of Inkatha people in KwaZulu-Natal and delivered weapons and ammunition to them. So he met Philip Powell there, and Philip Powell informed him about that he had knowledge about the South African link to the murder of Prime Minister Olof Palme in Sweden.
Thank you. That is what Mr. de Kock told you.
That is what he told me. And he gave quite detailed information how and when and so forth he got this information.
Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to raise, Mr. Schellberg?
No, at the moment.
Thank you very much. Chair, those are my questions to Mr. Schellberg. I do have some submissions I would like to make, but perhaps I should ask whether there's, stop in case there's going to be cross-examination.
Yes. I think there will be an opportunity for submissions to be made. For now, we are receiving evidence from witnesses.
Yes.
The time for submissions will come later, Mr. Butland.
All right. There is, thank you, Chair. There is one document I'd like to hand in, which is about Mr. Magadla, the person referred to by Mr. Schellberg. Could I hand that in now?
Yes, you may.
This is a document which, a press report, which explains who Mr. Magadla in fact was. I understand that he's passed away, but I've asked my attorneys to arrange to provide copies to members of the Commission and the evidence leaders. I think I've handed over my marked copy. I hope not, because I want to take the Commission through it. Was one of the copies you handed up marked? Is there a marked copy amongst those given to the commissioners? I marked up a copy just to assist me in taking the Commission through it. Oh, no, I have it. Thank you. Chair, this is and members of the Commission, this is a report which was obtained online from SAPA, a press report by SAPA on the 1st of April 1996. And I just want to take the Commission through it, if I may. It's headed, former ANC intelligence agent appointed to Truth Commission. It says the following: a former regional director of the ANC's intelligence department, Lawandla Magadla, has been appointed Chief of Special Investigations for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Skip the next paragraph. The third paragraph: Mr. Magadla, who has been serving as a National Intelligence Agency representative in KwaZulu-Natal, will report to Mr. Glenn Goosen. He retired from the South African Police in 1991 as a warrant officer. Next paragraph: he was appointed KwaZulu-Natal Director of the ANC's Department of Intelligence in 1994, a post he served in until early 1995 when he joined the National Intelligence Agency. So what we know is that Mr. Magadla was a policeman in the South African Police during the apartheid-era, rising to the rank of warrant officer. In 1991, he left the SAP. In 1994, he became the KwaZulu-Natal Director of the ANC's Department of Intelligence. In 1995, he joined the National Intelligence Agency. In 1996, he became the head of Special Investigations in the TRC. And in 1997, he went with Mr. Schellberg to Paris, where he attended interviews. He played no role in those interviews except that he closed them down at a certain point. And we suggest that this raises a host of questions which the Commission should investigate. The family of the late Ms. September are particularly anxious to know who instructed that the TRC investigation into the death of Ms. September should be stopped by the TRC. Secondly, why was that instruction given? And thirdly, what happened to the police file? Where is the French police file? The family are understandably concerned about this, and they've specifically asked me to raise this matter with the Commission.
Yes,
Thank you, Chair.
thank you. Following from the evidence given by Mr. Shellback, Ms. Kesri, do you have any clarificatory questions you wish to pose to Mr. Shellback?
I am online, Chair.
Advocate Moroka is online, Chair.
Oh, Ms. Moroka?
I have no clarification questions, Chair, and good morning. Save to state that whilst we believe that the evidence was not within the terms of reference, we accept that evidence and we also want those answers. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Moroka. Anyone online?
Good morning, Chair. It's Yana Nantlago for the National Prosecuting Authority. We equally have no questions for this witness, and we share Ms. Moroka's sentiments.
Thank you, Ms. Ndlogo. Anyone else?
Good morning, Chair. It's Irene Khali on behalf of SABS. We do share the same sentiments from Mem Moroka, and we don't have any clarification questions for now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Chair. It's Ms. Mchizana. We don't have any clarificatory questions for the witness.
Thank you, Ms. Mchizana. Mr. Vani?
Chairperson, your second. Yes. Okay.
Testing.
Test it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Chairperson, we also don't have questions for this witness, but I would like to greet Mr. Shellberg, who I haven't seen in many years, and thank him for his contribution towards South Africa's truth and reconciliation process.
Thank you. Mr. Seminya? Ms. Seme?
Thank you, Chairperson. We have just but one question.
Yes.
Not one question.
Yes.
One aspect. On one aspect.
No, it's one question.
No. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Seme, you may proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. Mr. Shellberg, according to you, the presence of Mr. Mgadlo Wilson in the trip, what aspect of the investigation into TRC cases was it supposed to control, in your view?
Well, Madam, actually, when I was informed that he was coming with me, I thought that he should contribute with his knowledge and expertise. At the same time, as I was a foreigner in South Africa, so as a matter of, I say, courtesy to the ambassador and so on, it should also be a South African citizen. Part of the delegation from South Africa, and by my experience, it's always good to be two investigators when you questions and you have like a second opinion about questions and information that should be gathered, questions that should be put forward during the interview. So for me, it was quite clear and normal that to be two investigators on this trip. So I didn't really react in any way more than positive that we should be two investigators. But again, as I said, I was surprised that he never asked any questions and that he was very, very quiet during the interviews and he didn't actually contribute in any way to questions or discussions during the trip to France.
May I just ask one last question following on that? In your view, what are the links, or could there be links between the attitude of Mr. Mgadlo and the response that was given by the Socialist Party representative who you were meeting in relation to the arms procurement in France later?
I don't, at the time, I had no idea why he interrupted. So I can't comment on that, actually, the reason why he was stopping the interview and the reason for the background to his discussions with whoever he spoke to on telephone when he stopped the interview. I don't know, and I don't understand it. Because again, we were working for the Truth Commission and we were seeking information, so there was no reason, in my opinion, actually, to stop this interview.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Seme. Mr. Butlander, I dare say that pursuant to the questions that have been posed in clarification, you have no re-examination to conduct on Mr. Shellback.
That is correct, Chairperson.
Thank you. Mr. Shellback, as a Truth Commission, we wish to thank you for having come to this commission to give evidence in this matter. You are now excused as a witness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Mr. Butlander, you are now excused.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Yes. Should we take a short adjournment so that we can receive the next witness?
With your permission,
A
Chair.
5-minute adjournment would be appropriate, Mr. Siminya.
That would be appropriate,
Thank
Chair.
you.
Chair, if I may.
Yes, you may.
I'm terribly sorry. I had discussed an issue with Mr. Soni, which we would want to raise with you and Mr. Vani about tomorrow's witness. I had asked Mr. Vani to indicate whether we should do it in chambers or whether we should do it after this witness. Mr. Vani had indicated that he'd come back to me. So I just wanted to put on record that we would want to have a discussion about a discussion, if I may say so, Chair. Thank you.
We are adjourned. Mr. Siminya?
May we proceed, Chair, with receiving the evidence of Mr. Fick?
May it please the Commissioners.
Good morning, Mr. Fick. How are you?
Good morning, Chair. I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nell, are you there?
Yes, Commissioners, my duty is only to greet the Commission this morning and to indicate that my colleague, Advocate Foster, will lead the evidence of Mr. Fick that's present.
Please, Advocate, come again.
Advocate Advocate Foster, V-O-R...
Foster, yes.
Yeah, V-O-R-S-T-E-R. She's
Yes.
sitting next, yeah. She'll lead the evidence of Mr. Fick, and I'll take a breather.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Fick, are you going to give your evidence under oath or affirmation?
Under oath?
Do you swear that the evidence you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Fick, let us commence by introducing you to the Commission. You are currently retired, having retired from the National Prosecuting Authority on the 21st day of January 2014. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You've been retired for 12 years now.
Correct.
Can you please tell the Commission how old are you currently?
77.
Are you enjoying your retirement?
Up to now, yeah.
You are a career prosecutor and you joined the Department of Justice on the 14th day of February 1967. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Since when have you been a prosecutor?
1968.
During our consultations, you told us that you've been a prosecutor since 1968, without the exception of 2 years when you completed your articles in Namibia. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You referred to the Office of the Attorney General in Pretoria as it was known then. Can you please tell the Commission when?
I think it's 1978.
At the time, who was the Attorney General?
Mr. Notland.
Commission, is the pace of my questioning still in order? Will you indicate if I'm going too fast?
Yes, no, you may proceed, Ms. Foster.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Fick, you were then at the Office of the Attorney General from 1978 up until 2014. Is that correct?
That's correct.
In your 46 years career span, you have done a number of notable prosecutions. So I'll ask the Commission if we can run through 4 of these prosecutions. The first one I want you to mention is the AW trial of Eugene de Blanche. Can you please tell the Commission about that?
Yes, I was a prosecutor. I think the 3 cases against Mr. de Blanche. It's in connection with the possession of firearms and explosives. Yeah, that's it.
There was 3 cases that you've prosecuted.
Correct.
Is that correct? And he was convicted on all 3.
Correct.
Then you also did the Dalmas treason trial. Is that correct?
Yes, I was a junior in the Dalmas treason trial.
Can you please give the Commission the citation of that trial?
Known as the State Mr. Baleka and others.
There was 22 accused also in that trial. Is that correct?
23.
23. Thank you. How long did that trial last?
Approximately 4 years.
It also resulted in convictions, but it was set aside on appeal. Is that correct?
That's correct.
The reason for it?
Irregularity occurred in the chambers of the judge. Neither the state nor the defense were aware of what happened in chambers until the judge told us in court what happened. And then as a result of that, he made an order to recuse the one assessor, and the trial proceeded with only one assessor. And then at after the finalization of the case, The defendants the accused went on appeal, and the appeal court set aside the conviction because of the irregularity which occurred in the judge's chambers.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Then you also prosecuted Warren Strydom. Can you please tell the Commission who he was?
He was known as the Wit Wolf. One night at sunset, he went to one of the townships, and there he found two ladies busy preparing the meal or meal at the fire, and he shot them point blank. He got in his car, and the next morning he went to Strydom Plain in Pretoria. There he found a number of individuals, members of the public. He took out his firearm and he shot at random. In the end, he shot, 8 people passed away and 16 others were wounded. And he was arrested, and I prosecuted him. On the 8 counts of murder, he received the death penalty. On the rest, he was sentenced to 30 years imprisonment.
The last case was the Madison trial known as the Boeremark trial. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I had the privilege of being your junior in that matter. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Can you please tell the Commission what is the citation of that matter?
The state visited Toy and others.
There was also 23 accused, and at the end, 21 pleaded guilty, 1 passed away, and then the conviction was against the 21 remaining accused. Is that correct?
Yeah, on the count of high treason.
When did this trial start?
On the 19th of May, 2003.
And before which judge?
Judge Jordan and 2 assessors.
Until when were you involved in this trial?
Up to the 30th of January 2014, and I retired the next day.
Is it safe to say that you've been involved in this Boeremark trial from the 19th of May 2003 until the 30th of January 2014?
That's correct.
Can you please tell the Commission an interesting fact about this trial? How long did it last, and how many pages was the report?
It lasted 10 years, approximately. The record consists of 63,000 pages.
And 21 of the accused was found guilty on high treason, and the other charges, some of the other accused?
Some of the accused were also found guilty on a charge of conspiracy to murder Mr. Nelson Mandela, as well as another count of culpable homicide. A lady died in one of the explosions.
You also dealt with...
Ms. Foster, can I interrupt you?
Yes, Commissioner.
Could you introduce into evidence the affidavit of Mr. Fick? And once you do that, maybe you could go to paragraph 4 of that affidavit.
I will do that, Commissioner Gabriel. Can I just proceed with an introduction on how Mr. Fick became aware of the Commission before I go to the statement? Will that be in order?
Is that in his statement that he submitted to this Commission?
Of how he became aware of the Commission and how it came about that he drafted the statement?
Okay, subject to the direction of the Chair, I think you should start with the statement.
As it pleases. Mr. Fick, you were requested, did you have any knowledge about the Commission at all? Did you follow the Commission?
No, I don't.
How did it come about that you became aware of this? Yes, Madam Chair? Yes, Madam Chair.
You've got to lead the evidence into, you've got to lead the statement of Mr. Foster into the record. Just introduce that statement by asking Mr. Fick if he has deposed to that statement and whether the signature that appears on that statement, which is at page 2473, is his signature before you go through his evidence.
As it pleases, Madam Chair, I'll proceed with that. Mr. Fick, you made a statement in this commission that's part of bundle 61, appearing on page number 2473. Is that correct?
Yeah.
This statement was commissioned on the 10th of June 2025. Is that correct?
Correct.
Can you please
10th of
confirm?
June 2026.
That's correct, yes.
And that's at page 2476.
The signature appears on the next page. Commissioner Gabriel, on page number 2477 at the top is the signature of Mr. Fick. Can you please confirm if that was your signature?
Correct.
Thank you. Mr. Fick, the statement was drafted after a consultation that you had with Mr. Kali Kriel, is that correct?
That's correct.
And in your statement, you explained that you had this meeting with Mr. Kali Kriel on the 22nd of September 2025. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
What happened during this meeting?
I was asked about my involvement in. I was appointed as the advocate to lead to police officers into the what happened at the TRC and its findings, and especially in connection with the members of the liberation movements. And my task was to investigate the matter and to see whether there is any possibility of prosecutions in these cases involving the members of the liberation movements. And we spoke about that, and I told him yes, and then from there on, I made my statement later on.
You are aware that Mr. Kriel made a statement to the Commission where he referred to this meeting, is that correct?
Yeah.
Did you have insight into his statement? Of Mr. Kriel, did you have insight into his statement?
Yeah.
And do you confirm the content of his statement as it relates to you?
Correct.
You were then requested by the evidence leaders to provide a statement, and that is how the statement that we have before this commission came about.
Correct.
Did you ever foresee the possibility that you had to testify before the commission?
No.
In preparation for your evidence, we made certain portions of the evidence available to you. We made the testimony of Mr. Pikoli, Mr. Nguka, and Mr. Ackerman. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Can you please tell the commission your own words? How did it come about that you became involved in these TRC matters?
I was in an office and I received a call from Dr. De Oliveira's office. They requested me to come to his office. I went to his office, and there I found Dr. De Oliveira and members of the police. I know the one was the ex-commissioner of police, General Johan van der Merwe. I was there told by Dr. De Oliveira that he appointed me at from his office, the advocate from his office, to lead an investigation into the prosecution or the feasibility of prosecution of members of the liberation movements, and that two police officers would be assigned to me, to assist me, and that is how it happened.
Mr. Fick, when you drafted your statement, you did not have any documentation or insight into any previous correspondence before making the statement. It was purely made on memory. Is that correct?
Correct.
Were there then police officers allocated to you?
Yes, Brigadier Nel and the Colonel Brits.
Were they provided with allocated officers at the...
Yes, on the first floor, the Attorney General's office. There were two empty offices. They occupied two offices, and there was also a safe which they used for the docket safe.
Upon their arrival, did you receive any dockets?
I did not receive any dockets. The two police officers received dockets over the period of time. And I think it's approximately around 400 dockets were received.
Upon the receipt of these dockets by the police office, what was the procedure or the process that you followed?
First of all, they entered all the dockets into a register to keep a register of all the dockets. And from there on, they visited the TRC's office in Cape Town. The reason was that to make sure that, or to establish which accused and which incidents were covered by the findings of the TRC. The incidents that people mentioned in the dockets they have in their possession. So they went there, it took them approximately a week. When it returned, we started with the comparison between the findings of the TRC and the dockets. And at the stage, there were a number of dockets which they told me with all the person there and the incidents were covered by the findings of the TRC. And at the stage, one of the officers brought me a docket. They called it the Ellis Park bombings. I produced the docket and I immediately saw the problems we are facing. The reason is that the dockets, some of the dockets were about incidents more than a decade in the past. Now, we first had to establish what happened to the investigating officer. Is he still in the police? Is he available? What happened to him? The other thing is what happened to all the exhibits? Are they still available? Then the next problem was, what about all the witnesses? Are they available? Which ones of them are available? And only then we can decide in which case there is a reasonable possibility of a conviction if we charge anybody. And that's we were busy with this procedure when Mr. Nguka and his entourage entered my office. So at that stage, there were no decisions to prosecute anyone whatsoever.
Mr. Fick, before we proceed with that, can you just tell the Commission when the TRC findings were made available and there was dockets that people did receive amnesty, what happened to those dockets?
Well, they were filed away in the dockets where the people received amnesty.
So that were closed. They were closed, those dockets. Now, on the day that you spoke of when Mr. Nguka entered your office, can you remember the date?
No. I don't have that. I don't sign date.
Was the entering or the arrangement of the meeting arranged with you that you know that he was on his way?
No.
And who was part of his entourage that you can remember?
I can remember Mr. Pikoli. And there were also police officers, but I can't remember that.
Now, when Mr. Nguka entered your office, what did he do?
He handed me a document and he told me that from that moment, the investigation stopped. And a committee has been appointed. I can't remember the name of one of the members of the committee. It was Advocate Brink Ferreira. He was at one stage a deputy Director of Public Prosecutions in Johannesburg. That's the only name I can remember. And Mr. Nguka also told the police officers that they must vacate the offices immediately and they must take all the dockets with them. And that happened. And that's the last I had anything to do with this case, with this matter.
So the document that Mr. Nguka had in his possession, in that document, it was stated that a new committee has now been established that will now look at all these dockets. Yeah. Is that correct?
Correct.
Brigadier Nel and Colonel Britt, did they vacate the offices?
Yes, they took all the dockets with them, every docket. There's nothing left.
During that time, who did you report to?
Well, I started with Dr. De Oliveira. Oral reports only orally, and no written reports only to keep him, to tell him where father I was at work, and that's all.
Did you make any prosecutorial decisions in any of these 400 dockets?
No, we didn't reach that stage.
Did afterwards, after the dockets were taken, was there any discussions made or done with you?
No, nothing. Until the very last time I had anything to do with the investigation of this matter.
Now, Mr. Pikoli testified before this commission, and his evidence was to the effect that Mr. Nguka was frustrated, that there was a possibility that some of the senior ANC members will be prosecuted. I would like to take you to his evidence. Commission, I'm referring to the evidence of Mr. Pikoli that was led on the 12th of March 2026, and it related to his...
Where is the record, Ms. Foster? Where do we find that evidence? Is it part of your, or is it part of the affidavit that has been deposed to by Mr. Fick?
No, it's not part of it because it happened afterwards, and the evidence of Mr. Pikoli was led after Mr. Fick already submitted his statement. I only want Mr. Fick to comment on the evidence of Mr. Pikoli that's contained in Bundle 1, specifically with reference to paragraph 72.
Bundle?
Paragraph...
Bundle 1 of whose document?
Of Mr. Pikoli's statement, and it relates to paragraph 72 of his statement.
Yes.
The paragraph reads as follows, and Commission, once again, the only reason that I'm bringing this is to hear Mr. Fick's comment on what Mr. Pikoli testified. I reminded the Minister that my predecessor had satisfied himself that there was no basis for the leadership of the ANC to be investigated, and then he had been briefed, the then Minister of Justice as well as the President. I also advised the Minister that all the dockets relating to the TRC cases which had been stored at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution in Pretoria had been handed over to the SABC in early and mid-2004. In my capacity as the then Director of Justice, I was actually present in the office of the DPP when representatives from the SABC collected the SABC set dockets. So the evidence of Mr. Pikoli corresponds that he was in your office and that the dockets was collected. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Madam Chair, Mr. Pikoli then elaborated in his testimony, and I just want to put a few lines of that to Mr. Fick. He elaborated during his testimony on 12 March 2026. I'm referring to the record page 28 of the transcription from line 22. Mr. Nguka was equally angry, and I think rightfully so, because he was of the firm view that the matter had been long addressed. There was no ongoing investigations on the members of the ANC, including the President of the country. So this story never went away. It was always there. I think then out of that and orchestration on the part of Mr. Nguka, an arrangement was made that the police would come to the office of the DPP, take those dockets away and take them to the SABC. As I say here, I was there when this thing happened at the offices of the DPP Pretoria in my capacity as the co-chair of the cluster. Do you have any knowledge of the reason why Mr. Nguka arrived at your office to take the specific docket?
The only reason I can give is the one he told me, and that is the new committee has been appointed, and they will deal with the matters further on. And that's it. I don't know anything else.
Mr. Fick, have you ever considered prosecuting any senior ANC members?
No.
Madam Chair, then I just want to refer Mr. Fick to paragraph 9 of Mr. Ackerman's statement.
Ms. Foster, again, it's not part of the affidavit of Mr. Fick.
Indeed so, Madam Chair, but it is an aspect that Mr. Fick was mentioned. And just to get his comment on something that where his name was mentioned in the evidence, once again, it was after that he drafted the statement. May I proceed?
You may proceed.
On 4 March 2026, on page 43 of the transcription, Mr. Ackerman testified.
Just give us the relevant record. Which bundle?
Madam Chair, it was part of his testimony, so it did not relate to what he testified. On the transcript of the 4th of March 2026, page number 43. And it's from line 15 to 19. That's the only part that I want to bring to this, to ask Mr. Fick to comment on. So it's only 5 lines where Mr. Ackerman testified. As far as investigation against APLA and MK were concerned, these were being dealt with by the director and senior superintendent from SABC, who reported to Advocate Fick SC, a DDPP at Advocate Mshe's office. Do you have any knowledge of this?
No, when Mr. Luka came to my office, all the dockets, all the members of the liberation movements were taken away, nothing was left, and that was the end of my job in this connection.
Mr. Fick, in conclusion, did you ever want to prosecute the president of the country?
No.
Have you ever saw a docket where he was an accused?
No.
Then lastly, the commission asked, you were requested by the commission in a letter dated 6 August to enlighten the commission on your knowledge of an alleged arrangement reached politically not to pursue TRC cases or cases involving the conflict of the past. Do you have any knowledge of it?
I have no such knowledge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That will be the evidence of Mr. Fick.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. Ms. Castro?
Chair, Advocate Moroka's
Ms.
on the
Online.
line. Yes.
Ms. Moroka?
No questions for clarification, Chair.
Yes. Anyone online?
No clarification from the SABC, Chair.
Thank you.
On Ms. Ntloko for the NPA, there are no clarification questions for this witness, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Same as no clarification questions for the witness.
Thank you. Mr. Vani?
Chair, just a few questions by way of clarification. Mr. Fick, thank you for joining us this morning. If I can refer you to paragraph 12 of your statement, you make reference to a director, Nell, and a senior superintendent, Brits. Can you give us their first names?
Nell is, we knew him as Frick. Now the other one was Henny Brits.
Henny Brits. And sorry, did you have the first name for Director Nell?
Frederick.
Frederick.
We call him Frederick. Frederick, yes, we call him Frick.
And you say that both Mr. Nell and Mr. Brits have since passed away?
That's correct.
And then if we can turn to paragraph 14, this is where you speak about Mr. Nguka arriving at your office unannounced. You mentioned that he came with a prepared document. Do you perchance have a copy of that document or know where we could find it?
Well, it was filed in the office file, and I gave a copy to Brits and a copy to Nell. And I know Nell told me that he will file it on his police file, official file. That's all I can tell you, but I don't have a copy for myself.
And was it in the form of a letter addressed to you or perhaps a memorandum?
I can't remember.
And in terms of the contents, were the contents of that document, was it simply an instruction that you were to hand over the dockets to the SABC?
Yes, to stop the investigation. That will be done by the committee in future.
And when he mentioned that it would be handed over to an investigative committee for consideration about prosecutions, were you aware of the establishment of such a committee?
Afterwards, no. I don't know whether they actually the committee was established, but I have no reason to doubt it.
And if we can just turn to the last sentence in that paragraph, you say the original letter accompanied the docket to, as far as I remember, the office of the then security police.
Yeah.
Did you mean to say the SABC, because I think the security police was no longer in operation at that time?
Yeah, the two officers. I gave each one of them a copy, or I think the one that is now went to the police with the Brigadier now.
And was that perhaps to Fasagi Street in Pretoria?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
There is evidence before this commission that Senior Superintendent Brits continued to investigate the cases against the liberation movements. Were you aware of those investigations?
No. I was not part of it. It was not in our office.
And lastly, Mr. Fick, of all the cases that you had worked on prior to this handover, were there any cases that you believe should have been pursued further but were not?
My problem was at that stage that I needed more information. As I stated, before anything could be done, is where's the investigating officer? What happened to the exhibits? What happened to the witnesses? And only after that you can decide whether you can proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Fick. No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Vani. Mr. Nalane?
Am I audible? Thank you.
Yes, you are.
Mr. Fick, thank you for coming to the commission. Just to remind us, you remember that the terms of reference of this commission deal with efforts or attempts to stop investigations or prosecutions of TRC cases. You know that?
Yeah.
And in your statement, you talk, if you go to paragraph 11, at page 2474, you say you served as a deputy director of the Office of Director of Prosecutions, and you were tasked by Dr. De Oliveira to direct investigations and prosecutions of those matters in which suspects failed to receive or apply for indemnity for matters relating to crimes committed by members of the ANC and other non-statutory forces that participated in the armed struggle. That's your statement, correct?
Yeah.
So 2000 and 2001, that's the period that you were the deputy director. In 2002, what role did you play?
What?
Were you still the deputy director in the office of Dr. De Oliveira?
Yeah.
And in 2003, were you still there?
Yes.
What
Then
we know, yes, sorry, quiet, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
And 2003 we started with the trial of the Burma.
The Burma. Yes. But what we do know, and what we have heard is that in March of 2003, 24 March, there was a unit called PCLU, Priority Crime Litigation Unit. Do you know about that?
No.
And it was headed by Advocate Ackerman SC. Do you know anything about that?
No. I know he was in the NPH office, that's what I know.
So when you were in the office of Dr. De Oliveira, was it before the NPA was established with Ngcuka, Advocate Ngcuka as the first NDPP, or was it before?
I can't. Ideally, I can't remember.
I can't remember.
I know I visited Mr. Ngcuka in his office in connection with the Burma trial in 2003. That's all I know. But I can't remember whether he was there before that.
But the sequence, as we know it, is that there was the Attorney General office playing the role of prosecutions before the NPA was started, correct?
Yeah.
And De Oliveira was in the Attorney General's office, correct?
Yeah.
And you too were in the office of Dr. De Oliveira during that time, correct?
Yeah.
Then thereafter, quite sorry?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thereafter, we have a new era where the NPA is established and Advocate Ngcuka is the first head of the NPA, correct?
Correct.
Dr. De Oliveira worked in the office of the NPA, but no longer as Attorney General.
Dr. De Oliveira?
He worked now in the office of the NPA, not in the Attorney General's office.
Yeah, at a later stage, yes.
Yes. So what we also know is that Advocate Ngcuka decided that the TRC cases must be referred to the PCLU as priority crimes. Do you know anything about that?
No.
You don't know anything?
No.
And so what it meant is that there would be a dedicated unit dealing with the TRC cases, amongst others, under the leadership of Advocate Ackerman SC. You say you don't know anything about it?
No.
So when you say Advocate Ngcuka came to your office, you deal with that in paragraph 14 of your affidavit. You say in or about 2003, while I was in my office, the then National Director of Prosecution, Mr. Ngcuka, entered my office unannounced and without prior arrangement. He arrived with a prepared document and informed me that I would no longer deal with these matters. If I may pause there, these matters were those dealing with the former liberation movement operatives who were being investigated. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct.
So he then says to you, you will no longer be dealing with those matters. And he says, and that all such matters would be handed over to an investigative committee for consideration of any further prosecutions. That's what you say.
Yeah.
Would that be the PCLU, this committee that you're talking about?
I don't know.
But what Mr. Nga did not say to you was that these investigations must stop altogether. Correct?
No, he told me we must stop with the investigation. There's a committee established, the committee will handle the matter further.
So in other words, you stop, but the committee will carry on with the investigations. Correct?
That's what I was told, yeah.
You don't know whether this committee is a PCLU.
He doesn't know the
You don't know. Yes, thank you. And he says, you then say, the SAPS investigators were given instruction to vacate their office and remove all the case dockets, which they have done. Now, can you explain why the SAPS investigators will be located within the office of the National Director of Public Prosecutions at that stage?
It was easier to work with them. We have 400 dockets, and there were empty office there. Nobody used the office. There was a safe where they can file the dockets, and we can work together. My office was on the 3rd floor, and they were on the 1st floor. It's easier to communicate with them because in our office, it's close to our office. That's only reason.
But they were still responsible for investigations. So the SAPS were still responsible for investigations, correct?
Pardon?
The SAPS were responsible for investigations of cases, correct?
I don't know who are you talking about.
So the prosecutions, you were a National Director of Prosecutions, you were Deputy National Director. So prosecutions, so you were responsible for the prosecutions, not the investigations.
Yeah. No, well, yeah, but in many cases, the prosecutor and the investigating officer works together in the investigation of the case. It happens every day.
And that explains why the SAPS officers would have been in your office.
Yeah.
And then you say that the SAPS were given instructions to vacate the office and they remove the case dockets, which they have done. So in other words, they would take the case dockets from the NPA offices and take them where?
Our offices, yes.
They were in the offices of the NPA at that stage, correct?
The DPP's office, yeah.
And they had the dockets with them. So they're now told, take the dockets with you. Where were they instructed to take the dockets to?
As I understand from what they said, the police officer at the guys, they should take it to the police head office. I don't know where.
But Mr. Nka did not say the investigations or the cases must stop. He didn't say that.
He told us we should stop with the investigation.
He didn't say the investigations of the cases must stop altogether.
No. It's always said that we must stop with the investigation.
The dockets will be taken to the police headquarters and the investigations could continue there at the police headquarters, correct?
I don't know. I don't want to further what they further agree to do. There's the police and the Mr. Muka and his committee. I'm not aware of what happened there.
all you know is that he told you, as the prosecutor then, that you say that the letter stated that the NPA would not investigate the matters further. So you, as a prosecutor, would not investigate the matters further, correct?
Yeah.
But he didn't say the investigation must stop altogether. He didn't say that.
Are you not repeating, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Counsel? Are you not repeating? I
Thank you.
think you are.
Thank you, yes. I'll proceed. And you say that the original letter accompanied the docket to, as far as you remember, to the office of the then security police. You have said that it could be the police, not the security police per se. You say that, correct?
Yeah.
And then you say, at paragraph 15, Mr. Nguka, as far as I can remember, accompanied by the then Director General of the Department of Justice, Advocate Bikoli, and other police officers. We have heard from the evidence of Bikoli that he was indeed there when the instruction was given that the docket, so he confirms your evidence. And then paragraph 16, you say the case dockets were removed to the headquarters of the SAPS, where it was kept according to Brigadier Nel and Superintendent Brett until their contracts were terminated. Then you say...
Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah, that's correct. As far as my knowledge is.
Now, we have had the evidence of Advocate Ackerman explaining why the dockets would have been moved to the police from the NPA. And he testified on the 2nd of March, 2 June, sorry. But the import of his evidence is that before the PCL was established, the SAPS had a number of dockets which they've been investigating about the liberation movements. And then when the PCLU started, they took over the investigations. Would you agree with that?
I don't know.
And he says that part of the functions we had to do as a PCLU is to go through the dockets which were available then to see which ones were prosecutable.
Counsel, I don't know when you keep on saying PCLU. He does not know about the PCLU unless you ask him whether Mr. Ackerman discussed the question of the PCLU with him. He doesn't know the PCLU.
Yes. All I'm saying to the witness is the explanation which I'm relating to him, the evidence of Ackerman. And I'm going to ask him to comment. If he can't comment, then it's fine.
Yes.
Yes.
To what extent is that a clarificatory question, Mr. Manalane?
Yes.
To his evidence.
Yes. The issue is the following. It's about the reasons why the dockets were removed from the NPA and taken to the SAPS.
Yes. Yes, we may proceed, but be pointed with your question.
Thank you very much. Mr. Singh, Mr. Fick, you say in your evidence, in your statement, that the reason you made your statement was to support what Mr. Peel has stated in his evidence, in his affidavit, correct? You say that the statement that which you are making now to this commission was in support of the evidence which you have been asked to comment on by Mr. Krill. Correct?
I was shown the affidavit made by Mr. Kriel and I confirmed certain paragraphs as far as related to my language. That's all I did.
And one of the paragraphs which you confirmed is paragraph 17 of the affidavit of Mr. Krill. It appears, Commissioners, we have placed before you the evidence which contains the affidavit of Mr. Krill in the previous hearing, and it appears from page 1229. The paragraph that is dealt with is on 1232, paragraph 17. And this is what Mr. Krill says. I have, in consultation with Advocate Paul Fick, SC, now 76 years old, who, as a member of the Office of the then Attorney General and later Director General of Public Prosecution, informed me that there had been a team, he and a team of SAPS investigators contemplated to prosecute senior NC members for this tragedy. He was assigned to a task by Dr. D'Oliveira and had to decide and prepare prosecutions of NC members. And then paragraph 27, which you confirm, is that you indicated that 2 SAPS members, Nell and Brett, were investigating the matters against the NC, those members who failed to obtain amnesties. So you confirm those statements that Mr. Krill made. The 2 investigators, Mr. Brett and Mr. Nell, are you aware if they ever continued working on any of the TRC cases?
Am I aware? Please repeat.
Are you aware that Nell and Brett continue to work on some of the TRC cases?
No.
You're not aware? All right.
No.
Because the reason that Ackerman said that the cases, the dockets were then taken to SAPS is because they, as a PCLU, found no evidence and no reason to continue looking at the dockets because of 2 reasons. One, some of the people whose names were in the dockets had received amnesty. So there was no need for further investigations, and the dockets had to go back to the SAPS. Do you have any comment on that?
No, I don't know anything about it. The reason what happened to that.
And he said that they made further investigations and could find no evidence to prosecute further or to investigate further, especially what was commonly known as the NC-37, and hence they said that the dockets must go back to the SAPS. Do you have any comment on that?
No. I have no knowledge about it.
All right. So the reasons why the dockets were taken back to the SAPS was simply because there was no need for them to be investigated further in the NPA. That's why they had to go back to the SAPS. You can't argue with that.
Well, I can't. I have no knowledge about it. But you're telling me now.
And then when did the Budamark trial begin?
The 19th of May, 2003.
2003. At that stage, the dockets had already gone back to the SAPS, the ones that you're working on.
They were gone, yeah.
They'd gone, okay. So in brief, you do not have any, you are not suggesting that the reason that the dockets were moved from the NPA to the SAPS offices were because of attempts to stop TRC investigations and prosecutions. You're not saying that?
I never said it.
Chair, Commissioners, those are the questions for the witness.
Thank you, Mr. Nalane. Ms. Foster, any re-examination on your client?
No re-examination. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Fick, we thank you for having come to give evidence before the commission. You are now excused as a witness.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair, with your permission, may I ask Mr. Soni to address the commission?
Thank you. Mr. Soni?
Where is the second microphone?
Chair, Ms. Morocco raised an issue when she addressed you earlier, Chair. It relates to the cross-examination of Mr. Chikane tomorrow. We had hoped to resolve the matter among us, but it doesn't look like it could be resolved among us. I'll just explain and she will tell you what the problem is.
Yes.
The Kalata group has sent a further set of documents on which they may rely in their cross-examination of Mr. Chikane's, in Mr. Chikane's cross-examination tomorrow. Ms. Morocco has an interest in the matter and she thinks it's unfair and she wants to object to it, or she may object to it. Unfortunately, we could not resolve the matter today.
Yes.
And it will have to be addressed in commission, in the open in commission tomorrow.
Can't it be resolved now? Can't we deal with the matter now? In view of the fact that if there is a possibility of having Reverend Chikane's cross-examination postponed tomorrow, then it can be dealt with today.
Indeed, Chair.
Without having to have Reverend Chikane travel to the commission for cross-examination, which is not going to take place.
Indeed, Chair. That is the preferable route to take.
Ms. Moroka?
Thank you, Chair. We spoke with Mr. Vani and Mr. Soni and in an attempt to resolve this and in an attempt to find a more fair way of dealing with this issue. Mr. Vani has explained, and I was trying to understand it so that he and I can get to an arrangement. It mostly revolves around the supplementary bundle that he has submitted. We only saw this supplementary bundle this morning. We have not had an opportunity to go through it. Mr. Vani explains that the Ginwala Commission bundle, that his intention was not to really go into that section of the bundle unless Reverend Chikane refers to it. And the second point was that I am not representing Reverend Chikane, so I have no standing to complain. Mr. Soni had undertaken to speak to Reverend Chikane to find out about his views on this matter. I'm not sure whether Mr. Soni has had the opportunity to do so. My concern, and I'd want to preempt the issue that we are not representing Mr. Chikane, Reverend Chikane. Indeed, we don't represent Reverend Chikane, but we would want to go through that documentation if it's going to be presented. We would want to take a view because we've got issues about the Ginwala Commission serving before this commission. We would also want to be, when Mr. Vani puts questions to Reverend Chikane about it, that it's correctly placed on record, that the quotations are correctly made or submitted. Overall, we don't believe it is fair to have Mr. Mr. Reverend Chikane confronted with documents that he hasn't gone through. Unless, as Mr. Soni has said, he has no issues with it, even though we would have issues with it. I don't think it's fair, Chair, that documents are submitted where other parties haven't had a chance to go through those documents. I just don't think it's fair. At the same time, we are conscious of your time constraints and your time limitations, but the process must be fair. And really, that's all I was going to say. On the question that Mr. Chikane is not my witness, my answer would be that this is an inquiry that is pursuing the truth from whichever angle, and it must be fair to all the parties. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Moroka. Mr. Vani? Or Mr. Soni?
Chair, may I place on record that we too have received the further documents only today, so I've not been able to
go through the
consider
documents
them or
yourself.
discuss it
Yes.
with Reverend Chikane.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Vani?
Chairperson, from our perspective, we thought we should be prudent and put up those documents in case they are referred to or they are needed in the course of the proceedings tomorrow. At this stage, we have no specific questions arising from them, but this is a fact-finding commission, and the mandate of this commission is to get to the bottom of the facts, and simply putting up the documents to assist the commission we think is a prudent step to take. We accept that the documents were only circulated yesterday, although I'm told that they have been in the possession of the commission, at least the transcript of Mr. Chikane's testimony before the Gunwala Commission. I understand that that's been... Oh, no, I'm told it has not. In any event, Chairperson, our submission is that we're putting up the document because it may be needed. We don't know if it will be. And at the end of the day, this is a fact-finding commission to get to the bottom of matters, and should the Reverend wish to refer to his evidence before the Gunwala Commission, it's simply available to this commission to double-check.
Yes. Mr. Van, I think you must concede that these documents have been produced at a late stage when Reverend Chikane has to give evidence tomorrow. And the evidence leaders who have led him have not had sight of these documents. And Advocate Moroka, who has an interest in the matter as the other party who wishes to cross-examine Reverend Chikane, has not had sight of these documents.
Yes, Chairperson, I'll make that concession.
Yes. I think in the circumstances, it will be unfair to expect Reverend Chikane to refer to these documents, even if he wishes to, without having had sight of these documents and discussing it with the evidence leaders.
Chairperson, can I make a proposal to resolve the matter? We will withdraw that supplementary bundle for purposes of tomorrow, but we would request that it be submitted into the Commission's record for future use in terms
No,
of
it
rules.
cannot be introduced there, Mr. Vani. Any document that is introduced before the Commission must have had the sight of the other parties. What would be the purpose of having those documents before the Commission if the witness to which it was related to is not going to be cross-examined on it? You either withdraw the supplementary affidavit in total, we proceed with the cross-examination, or if you insist that the bundle form part of the documents before the commission, then it's a different matter.
Well, Chairperson, we don't wish to disrupt tomorrow since the Reverend is available and all the parties have set aside tomorrow for the cross-examination. But Chairperson, certainly for the purposes of making submissions and arguments at a future stage, it may be that the parties, and indeed the Commission itself, may wish to have reference to those two documents, being a Cabinet memo and the transcript before the Ginwala Commission. This would be for purposes, again, of reaching the truth and of achieving the fact-finding mandate of this commission.
You would not have, they would not have been received by the commission properly. Yes, Mr. Soni?
Thank you, Chairperson. I don't want to interrupt the interaction between you and Mr. Varney, Chairperson, but I do want to say that this presents an important, well, a possible occasion on which the whole issue of how documents are received by the Commission, especially in respect of witnesses who are to testify, is resolved so that it doesn't arise for one, but it serves as a basis on which Reverend Chikane's cross-examination will take place.
Yes, yes. Mr. Vani, I am not inclined to receive these documents at all. They are not properly before the commission. So you either withdraw them or we have to decide on the date when Mr. Chikane will be cross-examined after having had sight of the documents.
Chairperson, we do withdraw the supplementary bundle and we will make no reference to it during cross-examination tomorrow. Chairperson, we intend to bring an application in terms of Rule 6.1 for their future submission into the Commission's record.
Yes, you may bring whatever application you deem appropriate at whatever stage. But for purposes of tomorrow, you withdraw the documents. Am I understanding correct?
That is indeed correct,
Yes.
Chairperson. We hereby withdraw the supplementary bundle for purposes of tomorrow.
Yes. These proceedings are adjourned until tomorrow at 10 o'clock.